All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Unscripted. Today, very special episode. First one we're going to be doing, this is our start and cut fantasy edition. So guys who we think are going to be performing well this week, who we're going to start, and guys who we think are going to have a rough week, so we will bench them. Of course, as always, Jay McLovin, how you doing today, sir?
I'm well. I am well. Not fantasy-wise. I kind of lost Nick Chubb. But other than that, I'm doing well.
All right, and of course, Stack Guy, Dustin Reeves. What's going on, man?
Not much, Logan. You?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Glad to be here talking some fantasy football. Of course, we do have our league, which we'll be doing updates on periodically here on the channel. And if you want to learn more and see more about our fantasy football just league, check us out on the following social media platforms: Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, and on Twitch. Easiest way to find all those is our link tree, which is in the description of all of our episodes. Once again, you go there, you click it, and you'll see all of our links that you see on the screen here. You go up there and give us a follow and interact with us because we love talking with you, our fans. All right, Jay McLovin, you're on the hot seat first and foremost, my friend. Who you starting, who you benching in this next week of the NFL in terms of fantasy?
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, I really believe Tua for Miami. He's got to be, in your starting lineup, especially when you got the wide receivers that they have. If Tua's not if you have Tua on your roster and he's not in your starting lineup, then you may want to consider not playing fantasy football anymore. Secondly, I put Bijan Robinson in there as well. I believe he's going up against the Falcons, and honestly, if Bijan's not in there too, I mean, what he's doing right now in terms of receiving as a dual threat, receiving and rushing, he's just crushing it. He's crushing it right now. And obviously, I think the other one I put in there was CeeDee Lamb. Him and Dak just have a really good combination right now, and CeeDee is just throwing up massive yards in his last two games. Now, so, again, and I think we go up against look, who the Cardinals. We got the Cardinals. Yes. I don't expect the Cardinals to be all that great of a defense, even though they did give the Giants a run for their money. That is the Giants. So I fully expect CeeDee Lamb to continue to have another great monster game for Dallas. And I do want to put an honorable mention in there for start, if I can, is Jahmyr Gibb. With Montgomery on the sideline right now, I expect Jahmyr Gibb, just like Bijan Robinson, to be that dual threat on the receiving and running side of it. And I believe the Lions – look at who the Lions playing today.
Lions playing the Falcons. They're playing the Falcons.
Falcons, thank you. So those two guys will be going head-to-head, Robinson versus Jahmyr Gibb. So, yeah, those are my starts. Are we doing and cut, or do you want just starts?
Yeah,
okay, so with cuts, Deshaun Watson – yeah, he really screwed the pooch against the Steelers. He should have had a much better day with Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore. But he didn't. And because now Kareem Hunt is the featured back, and Kareem's been out just for a little bit, he'll have a little bit of rust, but I think Kareem will do Kareem. But I do expect Deshaun Watson to struggle, especially fantasy-wise. If you watch that last game, he was at negative 0.02 all the way until like dang near the end of the first half. So if that's what you want to rely on, go ahead and put Deshaun in your lineup. Me personally, I was throwing up when I had Cousins over there, and Dustin's telling me, Jay, why didn't you start him? And I'm thinking, like, I don't know, why didn't I start him? And then any Bear running back, Herbert, any one of them, leave them on your bench. Don't even bring them in. especially with Justin Fields. Don't bring them in. And lastly, Amari Cooper. and that's just because of Deshaun Watson. So if you got Cooper, put him on your bench too. That's the part.
All right, Dustin, who are you starting this week?
Well, kind of going off of what Jay just said in regards to the Bears, since their whole organization decides to go into turmoil 2 or 3 days before, injury reports come in, you have a quarterback in Justin Fields basically blaming the coaches as the reason why he sucks. And then he tries to walk it back and say he's not blaming the coaches. You have a defensive coordinator who resigned. And you have a team who's now lost 14 games in a row, and it's about to be 15 games in a row this week because they play Kansas City. Start Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce. In fact, just trade for the entire Kansas City offense this week and just put them in defense because that Bears defense is absolutely atrocious. This is going to be kind of the revenge game for Matt Nagy because Matt Nagy is now the offensive coordinator in Kansas City. And he's going to show the Bears what an actual quarterback looks like this weekend because they haven't had one in a long time in Chicago, if ever. So, yeah, anybody on Kansas City's offense is a good vote this week.
Okay. And who are you cutting?
Well, I got one more. Yeah, go
ahead.
We have Christian McCaffrey's another one to start tonight if you have Christian McCaffrey. Giants have struggled defensively, which is kind of a surprise because they were one of the better defensive teams last year. And to see them struggling as much as they've struggled this year, especially against the run, it's kind of a good matchup for Christian McCaffrey, even though Christian McCaffrey, there's really not a bad matchup to play him at this point because he's just doing such amazing things since he's gotten to San Francisco. And for an honorable mention for me, it's not necessarily for this week. It's kind of for a couple weeks down the road. If you have a chance to draft Cam Akers or pick Cam Akers up off of waivers, add him to your roster because when he worked with Kevin O'Connell in Los Angeles, Cam Akers was a top 5 fantasy player. And now he's being reunited with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota.
All right.
In terms of who I'm cutting, Saquon Barkley, just because
that's fair.
He's saying he's going to play, which, okay. Well, if you're not 100% and you're going up against that 49er defense, I don't like your chances to really do much, if anything. And even if he was healthy, I don't think he would do much, if anything. So Saquon Barkley against this 49ers defense, definitely not a good matchup. Josh Dobbs at quarterback, even though probably not a lot of people even have him starting. But if by chance you have him starting because your starting quarterback is hurt, like maybe you drafted Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback and he's hurt, so you had to go with Josh Dobbs. He's facing the Cowboys defense this weekend. And we've seen what the Cowboys defense has looked like so far this year. So definitely not a good matchup for Josh Dobbs. And kind of on the flip side, Zach Wilson for the Jets. He's playing New England this weekend. Zach Wilson has struggled every single start that he's made, but the one team that he's struggled the most against is the New England Patriots, who he has again this weekend.
Yeah, good point. All right. Well, guys, hey, Dustin, once again, good picks. Jay, good picks. Time to give my quote-unquote expertise, I guess you could say. So for my starts, I'm going to go, of course, Kirk Cousins, the easy choice here. Best quarterback in fantasy at the moment, ranked number 1. Absolutely lighting it up in terms of offensive production. 344 week 1, 364 last week. Throwing for 6 touchdowns on the year. Got almost 29 points last week. He's been looking really well. Dustin, hopefully he can lead you to a win this week against the Los Angeles Chargers. Get your first one of the season, my friend. Another one I'm going to be starting is going to be Nico Collins, wide receiver with the Houston Texans. Currently number 6th ranked wide receiver. He's looked really well. Got 27 points last week, 146 receiving yards, and a tutty against the Indianapolis Colts. Also, week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens, put up 14, which is solid. Got 80 yards receiving. Once again, they're going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week, so let's see what he can do. And the next player I'm going to be starting is the man and the new guy out in Los Angeles who took over for Cam Akers. That's Kyren Williams, a guy who kind of came out of nowhere, but he has looked tremendous. Last week, put up 28 points, looked really well. And like I said, he ran Cam Akers for production-wise out of Los Angeles. So, like I said, he's looked really well on him. I would definitely start him in my lineup this week. So once again, Kirk Cousins, Nico Collins, Kyren Williams, if you have them, put them in your roster and put them in your starting lineup, and we'll see how you do. Now, for who I'm going to be putting on the bench this week, first off, Daniel Jones. Just great week last week, but he's going up against the San Francisco 49ers. And as y'all just mentioned, with Saquon going to be 50-50, they're going to eat him alive. So I don't know how this is going to go. He could fool me wrong, but once again, I think week 1 against Dallas, Jay, he put up 4 points. Last week against the Cardinals, he put up 30, which, look, the Cardinals are the Cardinals, right? The Cardinals hate the San Francisco 49ers. So I think he's going to have a lot tougher week. Up next, who I'm going to be sitting this week, give me scary Terry McLaurin. In terms of scary, his numbers have not been so good this year. Only on the year, last week gave you 16 against Denver. This week going up against Buffalo. Going to be a tougher matchup once again for him. Sam Howell, throw the ball to him more. Obviously, he's one of your best players. Give him the ball a little bit more and see what he can do. But he just hasn't shown the production that he's been used to. He's ranked number 45 in terms of wide receivers. So I would sit him this week. My final one I'm going to be sitting is Zach Moss. Obviously, look, if you said that Taylor is going to play, but well, who knows how limited he's going to be. Zach Moss, look, last week had 20 points, but once again, it's against Houston. Houston does not have the best defense. They have a young defense, but not the best. This week, they're going against Baltimore. Look, we know Baltimore is a lot tougher on opponents, on their defense. I mean, look, in week 1, they only allowed 47 yards to Dameon Pierce, and Joe Mixon only gave up 95. And so I don't see Zach Moss getting anywhere near that this upcoming week, but those are my predictions. Those are my thoughts. Who's going to be sitting? Once again, Terry McLaurin, Zach Moss, and Danny Dimes, the multi-million-dollar man out there for the New York Giants. Well, hey, guys, appreciate you coming on. These are our start and bench. First one we're going to be doing. We'll see how they do this week.
Can we circle December 23rd on our calendars?
Well, what's on December 23rd, if you don't mind me asking?
Bears versus Cardinals. Loser gets the number 1 pick.
Oh, wow. Okay. I will set that in my calendar, and we'll see what happens then. Good grief. All right, well, hey.
That's a Sunday night game, too. Don't ask me how that got a Sunday night game. It's not going to be Sunday night by that time, but that's the Sunday night game.
They were expecting Kyler Murray, and they were also, expecting Justin Fields to do better than what he's been doing. But right now, Kyler Murray not playing, and Justin Fields has regressed maybe more than any quarterback in the league. So we'll see how it is on December 23rd. If you want to have a Christmas gift, don't watch that game. But hey, that's just me. Once again, Jay, Dustin, appreciate you coming on, fellas. Always fun time talking some fantasy football with you now. I've been your host, producer, Logan Landis. You're the rest of your night, everyone. We'll talk to you again on another episode of Unscripted. See you then.